Well, there's only a few days left before the special Senate election in Alabama, and the accusations against Republican candidate Roy Moore are crumbling. One America's Pearson Sharp spoke with a former Army captain who served with Moore, who further calls into question the testimonies of his accusers.
With the revelation that Beverly Young Nelson's yearbook is a forgery and Democrat Doug Jones publishing a racist campaign ad, the opposition to Roy Moore's campaign in Alabama is quickly falling apart. And as the so-called evidence against Moore unravels, there are more and more people who knew him personally who are coming forward with their stories of his sterling character. One such eyewitness is former Army Captain William Staley, who served with Moore at an Army base near Da Nang, Vietnam, in the 504th Military Police Battalion. Staley, who spoke to One America News, has made a career out of judging people's character as a trial lawyer in New Jersey. He gave a vivid testimony to the kind of honorable man he knew Roy Moore to be.
We were taken to this brothel, unbeknownst to us. We thought we were going to go have a drink with this other captain. And when we walked in, it was clear to anyone, certainly Roy and me, that it was a brothel. And before anyone could come up to us, Roy said to me, "We shouldn't be here, I'm leaving," or words to that effect.
The two officers then got back into their Jeep and drove back to base. But Staley says that kind of rigid discipline was common for Moore, who he says never wavered from following the letter of the law.
Well, it was just another illustration of the kind of guy Roy Moore was at the time. I've characterized him as being very principled, and he was. West Point graduate, honorable, military bearing, by the book. That was the kind of guy he was. That was what he was trained to be. I was a product of ROTC. I wasn't quite as disciplined. I wasn't quite as by the book as he was.
And Moore was famous for that reputation among the men he served with. Staley claims then Captain Moore was known by everyone for being a real Captain America, and says he can't imagine him ever stepping out of line.
And he was also known for being very strict. He had a reputation, even among the other company commanders and the battalion staff, for being, as I said, principled, by the book, a disciplinarian.
It's not the kind of reputation that goes easily with someone the media paints as also being well known for pursuing underage girls. Not only does Staley say he doesn't believe the allegations against Moore, but that based on his 42 years of experience as a lawyer, he also doesn't believe the women accusing him are telling the truth. Staley says that Lee Korfman, Moore's first accuser, appeared to be meticulously prepared for her televised interview and that her account felt forced and unnatural.
And this particular woman appeared to me to be very well prepped. And I'll give you an example. She was asked, as I recall, by Ms. Guthrie, did there come a time when you dated Roy? Did Roy Moore take you out on a date or something to that effect? The word date was used. And Ms. Korfman immediately said, it wasn't a date. I was 14 years old at the time, and I was incapable of dating. It was more like a meet. Those did not seem to me to be her words. They seemed to be the words of somebody who prepped her. Perhaps an attorney, perhaps a journalist, perhaps one person. Some of that, maybe all of it, is choreographed. And that detracted, in my mind, from her credibility. And it detracted from the credibility of her story.
Predictions from the mainstream media, Washington, D.C., and even fellow Republicans had Moore losing by a landslide to his Democratic rival, Doug Jones. Yet Moore has refused to give up and has stood by his position that all accusations against him are false. And as the credibility of his accusers begins to crumble, it appears that voters are taking notice. Not only has the Senate candidate not fallen behind, but recent polls show a surge in support from residents looking to back the judge. As his poll numbers continue to climb, members of his team say it's obvious voters aren't falling for the so-called hit job against him. Staley agrees, saying the accusations simply aren't adding up to what he personally knows about Moore.
Somebody is trying to mislead us. Someone is clearly giving us false facts. And when I hear that, then I don't find that person credible. I'm inclined to reject all of what that person had to say. So, and believe me, I'm not trying to tell people how to vote. I think they ought to look at the issues. The people of Alabama will use their good sense and vote for or against Roy Moore. But they ought not be putting their trust in these allegations.
And with the special election on December 12th right around the corner, one thing is clear. Roy Moore, President Trump, and the people of Alabama aren't backing down and aren't afraid to carry the fight for the judge into the polling booth. Pearson Sharp, One American News.